What's up, ladies and gentlemen? All right, so Wednesday, hump day. Hump day, candle hump. There's got to be a name to it. It's coming. This is the second week in a row. It should be Wednesday. Hopefully it's Wednesday. So we're gonna break it down. We started doing this last week. I'm thinking Wednesdays might be better than Thursdays. A little bit more meat on the bones for the week. All right, so we had the bulls coming in hot. So Monday we opened up pretty strong, right? I guess kind of rejected, came back up. Tuesday, absolutely not. Never mind. Monday came in strong. Tuesday, right? Rejected, came back up. Wednesday, total nothing day. Now, as far as the open goes right now, kind of gapped down a little bit. We're kind of buying it back up. As long as this zone holds, I'm thinking base rally. I am still along my ES contracts. Right now, still just two of them. So hanging on there. I think we rally base, and I do think we get up here to this zone. Once we do kind of break up to this zone, so I do have a couple. I have more than two. I have a couple ES contracts. Those are December expiration. Now I have March expiration as well. That one I'm not going to trail. But tomorrow, or when we get to this zone, I'll probably tighten up the two December contracts when they tag out. Maybe play the higher low game. But I just want to hold them for a little bit. I know a lot of people love to play futures and they scalp. They really make like a couple points. I like to make a lot more. So like I'm already in from here to here. Now we just need to continue to go to the next one. Again, just playing the magic yellow boxes. Now we did get outside the expected move and we reined it back in. So maybe the fireworks are done. I'm kind of hoping. I don't know if we go 2 standard deviations. Maybe if the government opens back up, it's world peace. We're just kind of back to everything. We're good. Send it there. But I kind of almost expect maybe something like we get halfway up and maybe a take profit Friday. Unless NASDAQ does turn around. So NASDAQ already went zone to zone. Now, I told you guys, I put my stop in. That tagged out. I did get back in, so I am back into my NASDAQ contracts as well. Skipped a little bit of the red there. So I am thinking we hope that's some kind of bull flag. The way the buyers really stepped in and held that is why ultimately I just wanted to get back in. It was a great trade. I'm still long my ES contracts. The NASDAQ, I'm going to play the in and out game a little bit more. So still looking good there. Not quite outside the expected move. Just almost made it to it and then pulled back a little bit today. Everything's great because if that's all the bears have to offer, we're looking good. Now, Grandpa Dow, again, found his blue chews and absolutely sent it. Should have been in this one. I typically buy the broken stuff. We had even had conversations about this morning. There was a lot of, why don't we just get that? I didn't, but it's up. All-time highs. Honestly, if that were to pull back into that zone, I'm thinking bull flag, and we set ourselves up for another dip by almost 2 standard deviations. I guess I'd watch out for a rein it back in play, because if it does that, I would buy the dip on that one. Russell, I don't think I'll probably play. I don't see me playing anytime in the near future. But honestly, right now I'm playing back and forth here, so bullish above this zone, bearish below here. Next stop is going to be one of these 2 yellow zones. I don't think we're anywhere on the expected move. Yeah, nothing there. I'm going to break down a few other tickers. MMM, long, and it has dividends. It's actually a pretty popular dividend ticker. That fun little hack. I'll say, fun little hack goes from the lower left to the upper right, but it does kind of more sideways than anything else. Let's go to the weekly. I like it. I just think right now, literally right now, it is in a weekly zone. Hang on, we're going to go right there to there. I would go long. I certainly wouldn't short it. My question is, do I go long now? Do I wait for it to base out? That's probably where I'm at. As a dividend ticker, I guess I'm buying some here, buying more here. Dividend tickers I play a little bit differently, so I would want it before it breaks out and up, because then at this point we start hitting scanners and everything else, and I'm thinking let's move and groove before that happens. I want to have a cost below that, so I buy some now, preparing for that, ultimately keeping some in the tank, knowing that it's not just an average down because I'm down, but if it gets down to here, I'm going to buy more. So if it goes, I buy it right here, it pulls back to here, I'm not anything, I'm just in some short-term red, comes all the way down to here. That's my plan ever before clicking the buy button. BBAI. All right, big bear situation. Okay, it's only 19 cents, but looks like a zone 8 to 8.19. could use some tweaking from you, please. Got in pre-market at 6:35, right at the bell. It shot up. A little nervous wheeling it. That's because I wouldn't wheel a ticker like this. Not everything. Not every ticker is for a wheel. Sometimes you just take the trade. If you wanted to sell some options on it, sure, but it's just what you're gonna end up doing is collecting a couple bucks and watching it go down a couple dollars in share value. So probably not the one. You're probably right to be nervous to be wheeling it. I'd rather just trail this thing. You said a zone from 8 to 8.19. Kind of. If I were to zone, I guess it'd be right there. That's it on that one. Close, yeah, 4 cents off. NASDAQ considering long the speed bump zone, stop right below it. That's where I'm at. 100% where I'm at. Let's see. Hood still in the 140s. All right, still in the 140s for this Friday. Looking to roll either tomorrow or Friday to the 142s potentially. I'd probably keep it the 140s. 140 is still going to put you right there in that zone. 140 versus 142, same boat. You're going to collect a couple bucks more premium. I think I'd probably just keep it the 140s this time. Unless you're just nervous. So that's always the thing. So it's a couple dollars difference. So really we're all in the same boat. You sell the 142s, I sell the 140s. If it shoots up, what's the likelihood it just shoots to 141? And if it does, we're both rolling for at the money contracts. So, does it actually matter at that point? I'd probably just collect a couple bucks. What does Hood rank on your totem pole? Still speculative, but new. What is your top 10? I don't know if I even have a top 10. 10 is a lot. It's the watch list that I break down and trade literally every day. Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Google, AMD. I have a top 7 right now. The others are just kind of peppered in there. I trade the same stuff over and over again. I'm not Warren Buffett or Jeremy from Financial Education. I don't need 47,000 tickers. I just need my handful, and I just get really good at them. Which makes me a boring content creator because I just do the same thing literally over and over again. And everyone else running scanners and all that just can't wait to trade 92,000 things. I'll do better in mine than probably anyone in their scanner. You've heard that rant before. But, yeah, a top 10. I do have 10 stocks, but to get it that top roll, if it's going to get that means I'm going to buy now. I'll delete this app. I don't care. If I lose service for the next 6 months, I get lost on an island, can't make it back, I'm fine. I'm not worried. I'm just going to see how much money I have when I get back. That's what it needs. I need to have that kind of ranking to call it a top position. Where's the bottom for Hood? Leaps? I don't know. Hood's going sideways. So as of right now, I'd say this is your bottom for Hood. The bottom I'd be worried about at least, right, is right there, and that's it. Because if that breaks, the story changes. Now, right now, we kind of have this trend going up. Things are still looking good. Eventually, it will find a top, and it's just new. It's speculative. So right now, you kind of have this horizontal range, and sideways is not bearish. That's still something, especially on a bullish track like this. So it would be now. If I'm going to buy leaps, I would probably have something in mind in case that did break. Maybe I sell something against it as far as like a calendar spread. At least with the shares, if I was bullish, I could ride it out. I could sell calls against it. It would just kind of all depend on my plan. Leaps are just like every other options contract. They still have an expiration date. So leaps, I want to be careful, and I want to see some growth coming into it. Hood, Palantir, great trends up. But that's something I really want to just 50-50 that expiration date on, is why it would kind of like have me question, do I want that or do I just want some shares so I can just actively manage this thing? I have 1,000 shares of Beto. With dividend payments, average was down to about 12-ish. When it got down to $18, I added another 1,000 shares. It bumped my average up to 14. Right before the last dividend payout, I turned on DRIP. It added another 100 plus shares at $15.95. What do you think of letting DRIP roll on this while the price is down and letting it grab the shares without me having to put more money into it. It's been taking the money and buying other things. Honestly, you're right where I'm at. I don't know if I mentioned this the other day. When it comes to dividend and having DRIP turned on, I usually keep DRIP turned on, let it go in the background until I have the position I want. With a monthly pair like that, DRIP, I just turned DRIP on my BTO position. I actually meant to for this last one. I was just late and I forgot. But yeah, if it's a dip buy, then I let it buy itself. I do think BTO's a dip buy right now. Still very speculative, but still a monthly pair. So why I tend to just have DRIP off on most things, I get to manage it. Like right now, I don't mind just riding off into the sunset with BTO and just collecting the cash until it gets delisted. What I don't want to do is have DRIP turned on and it just keeps feeding itself. It's like someone raking leaves into a fire. That's cool. You can keep adding leaves. The fire might get bigger for a second, but it's still going to it's just going to dissipate. So I do like turning it on right now as far as the dip situation goes. But yeah, eventually, if it looks like there's no turning back, I turn DRIP off. I either manage the whole thing and sell it, or you give it the benefit of the doubt. Hey, there could be a comeback. Maybe it's just having a rough period. Still, as long as they keep paying and keep their end of the bargain. With something like BTO, we've talked about this a while back. When I buy this, it's risk and capital, so that it's going to zero. The only thing I need to make sure of the analysis and the risk that I'm taking is, can I make $16 in dividends before it goes to zero? And if DRIP is turned on forever, you'll just have a bunch of shares that expire worthless. Or not expire, they just go worthless. But yeah, long story short, I do like it right now. TSLL. So you guys saw in the chat today, I sold the 18 puts for this Friday. I sold the 19 puts for next Friday. Rolled the 1950 sold puts, the 19s next week. Nice. Also rolled the 1850 sold puts to the same strike next week. Nice. Yeah, I like it. You've seen some chatter in the chat just because right now this is an absolute gold mine. And I kind of want to see what I can do with 5,000 shares. 5,000 shares, I sell 50 contracts a month. 50 contracts a week. I bet I could. Again, almost like that dividend question. Can I make, $19 in premium before this is worthless? It's Tesla, so it might have some rough patches, but it also might absolutely send it one day. So that alone kind of keeps that what if value, it keeps that spark alive, keeps the gamblers in there, and what makes this option selling on this absolutely amazing. It's a gold mine that I kind of question even telling people about. I love coming on here and just kind of sharing what I do and everything, but I don't want anyone touching this. I want this to stay right where it's at. I want the gamblers to just keep coming in droves and buying all my options contracts. I need that. We're in the same strike, so I can't disagree. Rolled the 40 puts, so to the next week's 40. Okay, so HIMS I do like, but we're kind of coming up on this trend line. And again, I'm not a trend line player, but if it does break, I kind of question. Not that I question it. It's this zone is where I'll be buying at these next two zones as far as HIMS goes. But if you're wanting like my opinion, that's what it's going to be. So either capital needs to reflect it or come up with your own plan, as anybody should be doing. But when I'm breaking things down, I sold puts, and I'm gonna be in it, and I'm gonna add more here and here because I'm gonna hold this one for a little bit. Where's the bottom for HIMS leaps? Here's how you find the bottom. You set an alert right here. You go to the daily. You set an alert 2 candles back, and then every time it has a red day, you just scoot that alert 1 candle up. Eventually, that alert's gonna go off, and then there's at least buyers there. Right now, I'd let the sellers do their thing. It's trending down. What's the rush? You're gonna buy it. You're gonna buy a leap. It's gonna be $10 cheaper, not $10 options money. I'm talking $10 real money. If you bought the absolute bottom versus it popped to here, it's not gonna make a big deal. Let the sellers do their thing. Buy it when you're not the only buyer. Wait for a couple other buyers to show up. Let them dip their toes in the pool and see if it's got a hot wire in there, not an electric. Thoughts on buying shares or calls? I wouldn't buy calls right now. Calls are going to be the riskier, but because it's still selling off. If you like my idea, I do like selling premium on this. Isn't bad. So I do like owning shares and selling calls on green days. But if I'm going to jump in this right now, it's a ticker that I like, but it is just melting down. I'm going to just let the sellers do their thing, and then I'll buy. And I hate to just pick on Jeremy Lefebvre from Financial Education. He loves buying stuff that just goes down. He just keeps buying, just keeps buying, just keeps buying. I, on the other hand, I'll just let the shares get cheaper. The longer I sit here, the cheaper I get it. Imagine going to buy a car, and the guy's like, here's the price, $50,000 for this SUV. And you're like, and you just sit there and stare at him. And the more you stare at him, he just drops it 49,000, 48, 47. Why would you stop right there? Don't go any cheaper. I'll take it. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to kick my feet up on the desk. Hopefully someone's popping some popcorn. Let's keep it entertaining. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to get it. Just let them do the work. 1,000,000%. No rush right now. Let's see. All right. Thoughts on buying. Oh, that's Shop. Sorry. Wrong ticker. Shop. Whoever it has my login, please stop. It might even be me. It might even be one of my other computers just kind of auto doing it, but it's kind of annoying. As far as Shop goes, I have shares. I like shares. Again, if I were to buy calls on this, it's probably a little, again, I don't know. It just doesn't really have I like volatile stocks. If I'm going to gamble and grab some options, I want it to move some contracts, So this particular one, I would probably either grab a leap, something like a 50, 60, 50 delta. Or I'd probably just grab shares. Be considerably cheaper to grab the leap, but I do kind of like the shares on this. Oracle. Get wrecked. It filled that gap. It filled that gap. It almost filled that gap. It'll probably fill that gap and then that one and then that one and then that gap because all gaps fill. Right? Unless that doesn't make sense in your head. And the only gaps that fill are the ones that you like to fill and talk about, but not the other ones. Because everyone's going to say, it's just going to fill that gap and it's going to turn around. Someone said that about that gap, about that gap. They're going to say it about this one. They're going to say it about that one. They're going to say it about all of them. But eventually it's going to be like, not that one. That's too far down. This one. Right now it's selling off. Dumpster diving, knife catch plays. Oracle and Coreweave. I got to say I probably like Oracle a little bit better. I like Coreweave for its volatility. Don't get me wrong. Coreweave doesn't know how to jog or walk. It is just dead sprints running the pacer. As a trader, I do like that movement. Oracle's been around a little bit longer, so I do like, if I'm going to catch a knife, it's paying a dividend. It means it's established. It's got a little bit of time with it. So I do like that one right now. Personally, it would need to gap up in the morning. Let's get extended hours on there. Yeah, we're still selling off. I'm going to wait for this bottom zone. If you can afford 100 shares, I would try to sell some 200s if it were me. Coreweave. Earnings, they basically came out and said, we can't weave. We suck at it. Now, that's at least a zone play. Easy trade. So my stop's going to be 82.85. It tags that, tags me out, or it goes. Simple. It's about $3 a share. Yeah, about $3 a share. The only one worth $30, only buy 10 shares. That's how easy the math is. Earnings, bullish run, setup, please. Are you telling the market makers that, or are you telling me to set that up? Hopefully that's a bull flag. I would still have to have my stop down here, 187.45. I would treat this as a very early type one, maybe grab a few more shares right here, and hopefully it runs up into earnings. Probably, I don't know. I just kind of have a feeling it's going to be quiet. I don't think a lot of people are just going to be in a hurry to front run that. Everyone knows earnings are around the corner. It's not like insider information. If they were already excited, they would already be here. You know what I'm saying? GXO Logistics. Am I wrong to think this has held up well and looks bullish? Want to enter leaps? You're killing me on this. Are you just new with options? I want to buy a leap. I gotta buy it. I'm just kidding, but you're calling out a lot of leaps right now. Leaps are very capital efficient, especially like an 80 delta leap. You know, just a synthetic long position. It still has to be the right play. I don't think people understand the risk they're taking when they just buy a leap. They just think it's cheap. It's there's never a time in this market. These markets, despite what anybody says, are incredibly efficient. Everyone knows. They know the games. They know everything. And you can literally watch people just throw their whole account away because they went all in leaps and then it just didn't pan out. Ask the chat. Have you ever seen anybody do that? They will all tell you. Yes. Let me just grab a couple of zones real quick. Now, you might know this ticker better than I do. I don't mind buying leaps on some of the AI plays that I called out. You know, Amazon, Google, Tesla, Meta. I like dip buys on some of those, but some of these other ones, you know, like that's getting a little bit crazy. Now, you clearly like this one. You're calling it, you think it's bottomed out. I wouldn't let that deceive you. Let's get Ray out here. Let's get Ray involved. That's a trend down, and then so is this. That's actually a, I don't know if it's even the worst argument. That's a decent just trend down. That's a channel down. This one I would rather have shares. Shares I don't have to manage. I can manage in extended hours. You can just play a little bit more. It's going to cost a little bit more, sure. But are you truly risking all that? It costs more, but you get some benefits. Benefits like I can manage this thing, you know, on different hours. I don't have to wait. Liquidity is going to be a lot easier. My buyer and seller pool is a lot better. NVIDIA, again, is it time to buy a leap for 2026? The end of 2026. I mean, if you buy a leap on NVIDIA right now, what are you going to get it $1 cheaper if it has a red earnings? For you to buy a December 2026 leap, for that to really make a meaningful price change, NVIDIA have to drop to probably 140. It would need, like, what drives an options contract is that what if value. What if it shoots up? What if it tanks? That's what these gamblers really have in the back of their mind. You know, and that's what keeps it alive. Now, if NVIDIA were to drop on earnings from 190 to 170, it just did that in a matter of an earnings call. You know how many earnings are going to be between now and the December of 2026? There's a lot. There's a lot of what-if situations in there. Not to mention every news article is going to come out in between buyers and sellers. It can cover that ground in an hour. And if it can cover that ground in an hour or a day, that leap is just not going to move that much. So that's why I would certainly rather get in now. Let it start working in my favor. I'm buying a leap in case it doesn't go in my favor. I have time to recover, but I don't want to just push it and buy it way up here. Thoughts on Amazon? I like it. I bought some stuff off. I buy a lot of stuff off Amazon. This is awkward. I don't know. I'm bullish. This is a AI stock that people just are not thinking about. Until they go down, all of a sudden you find out half the world is on their AWS. And then that gets awkward. Then all of a sudden it's not a place to buy cheap stuff. Let's get extended hours on here. Very awkward range right there. I don't know, but the way the bull showed up and just no one's contesting that, I do like it. I would like that for a continuation. The Dow is the new king, apparently. It really is. I don't know why we didn't. So Cody and I were literally talking about the Dow before this, by the way. The Dow's going to hit all-time highs. Literally, as we're saying it just creeps up and does that. I'm like, yeah, I'm waiting on the NASDAQ. Meanwhile, this just absolutely sends it. A little rotation out of tech and into Grandpa Industries. Hopefully we get that little reversal. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here, ladies and gents. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.